Good morning. I'm Michelle Steffen, and it's good to be here this morning, and I'd like to welcome each of you, whether you're here regularly or if you're visiting today, or if, like me, you've been gone because of illness for a little bit, and it's just good to be back together. I trust that you enjoyed the breakfast out there, and I'd like to welcome you now to the table of worship, which I trust will be just as satisfying. In August here, I don't know if you've noticed, it's been a little cooler for August. I think next week it's going to get a little bit warmer, but it's a season of transition. The kids are back in school. It's a season of transition of weather, and also a season of transition for our congregation. I also trust that you enjoyed the light show of lightning last evening. And as we gather at this table of worship, I'd just like to center our thoughts on God and praise Him for all that He's made, thinking especially of the heavens. Ah, Lord God, Thou hast made the heavens and the earth by Thy great power. There is nothing that is impossible for Thee.
Please stand and turn to 46 in your blue hymnal. Following in Michelle's lead, I sing the mighty power of God. Please remain standing if you're able, and we'll turn to 72. When all thy mercies, O my God, speaking from beginning of life to end of life.
to the front. If you guys want to come sit on the floor up here, that's fine. So, how many of you started school this week? Well, there's one hand. How many of you are going to start school this week? So am I. I took Chloe to college on Monday, so my house is a little quiet. So my first story, it's back to school, as you guys all know. And on my way home from Kentucky, Rachel and I stopped at one of our favorite bookstores, the Book Loft in Columbus. It has 32 rooms of books. Yeah, we were there for a little over 2 hours, but who is counting? But while I was there, I found a book. And I like this book because, what's this? It's a school bus, you're right. And guess what I drive? A big yellow school bus. So I thought we'll start with this story. It's called One Boy Watching. And there's a lot of boys up here, so maybe you guys can relate. I don't know what time your bus comes, but I can tell you what, I have kids on my bus at 7 a.m. One boy waiting for 2 bright headlights. Bus number 4, 3 big steps. 28 empty seats. And 1 unfogged window, 1 boy watching. 1 garland tree, 3 quiet deer. 4 rusty cars, 7 wild sunflowers. This is a bus driver's dream if there's a kid. 1 bus ride at sunrise under an infinite sky. 1 boy daydreaming. Second stop, more to come. 5 matching houses. 3 pecking chickens. No train. Look both ways. Let's go. Some loud kids, some quiet kids. 1 kid fast asleep. 1 draws on windows, and 1 girl is car sick. 48 kids in all, packed like crayons in a crayon box. 2 long rows of trees and 1 bumpy dirt road. They must be in Wayne County. 1 big bump, all the kids in the back jump. No train, look both ways, listen. Yeah, I know. 4 loud whistles, 2 clanging bells. How many train cars? Too many to count. 8 minutes later, 7 cars backed up. Now into town. 2 water towers and 1 grain elevator. Bus number 4 slows down. Bus number 6 passes. 1 boy going backward. 10 till 8, all the buses line up. 1 by 1, every kid hops off like crayons spilled from a crayon box. 3 p.m., 1 boy starts to daydream. one grain elevator, 2 water towers, and countless roadside sunflowers. One boy watches out the windows and wonders, how many things will he discover on the journey home? Now, my next story is more for the moms and dads, because they've been at home all summer with you, and some of them, they're kind of glad to see you go to school, but some of them are kind of sad to see you go because they've had so much fun with you guys, right? So this book is Sorry Grown-ups, You Can't Go to School. It seemed like this lady and her brother Buddy were dressed and eating breakfast at the kitchen table. Things started to get a little weird. "Good morning," said Mom. "Check out my new backpack. I have it. It has 4 zippers and a secret pocket. I'm wearing it to school." "Sorry, Mama, you can't go to school. Only kids and teachers. Only kids and teachers." "Hey," yelled Dad, "look at my new high tops. I can tie them all by myself. I'm wearing them to school." "Sorry, Dad, you can't go to school. Only kids and teachers can go to school." Just then the doorbell rang. It was Grandma and Grandpa and Bow Wow, and they were all wearing backpacks. "We're sorry, grown-ups, you can't go to school. It's just kids and teachers, and only teachers and kids." "Ruff, ruff, ruff," barked Bow Wow. "Ruff, ruff, 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 ruff." "Sorry, Bow Wow, you can't go to school either. Only kids and teachers. Only kids and teachers." Do you think they're getting it yet? "It's not fair," yelled the grown-ups. "We want to go to our morning meeting. We want to play the ABC games and read stories on the cozy carpet. We want to do science experiments. We want to play with our friends at recess." "We're sorry," said Lady. "It's just the way for you and some for us. It's just the way. But you can pick us at the end of the day, and you can even ground on the way home. And we'll tell you all about school at we get to go to work with you." So since it's back to school, I have some paper. Oh, he's fine. And, oh, okay, I'll take that. Thank you for being such a good helper. You want to be another big helper?
He didn't tear that off.
No, it can come off, but do you want to be a big helper?
Yeah.
Okay, come here. Can you go give a box of crayons to everybody?
Sure.
And if you need paper to draw, I have paper here. You guys can come get some paper. And take a couple. Who else needs a? I hope you guys have a great school year. And remember to leave Mom and Dad at home.
I'll let you in on a little secret. I like to draw in church too. No, I'll use my pen, but thank you. I also probably am too old to go to school, but back in 1986, I started to attend Central in my junior year of high school. And there was an exchange student that was attending Central at that time. And I can't remember what country he's from, and I know his name started with a B, and I think it was Boyan, but I might be mispronouncing that. But one thing I remember about him is that he loved history. That was quite clear because he knew all the details about history. He had read every card in the Trivial Pursuit game, and he knew them all. And he signed up to take I think he was at Central for maybe 2 years, but he signed up to take every single one of Don Nussbaum's classes. And he did really well in those classes, and I think he was Don's favorite student all time, maybe. I remember them taking pictures beside each other when he graduated. Dream student for any history teacher. But I know that he loved history because he knew all the details about history and so many times when we're very interested in something and we really enjoy it, we know all the details. So I want you to think about that as we read Psalm 139. O Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely, O Lord. You hem me in, behind and before. You have laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me, your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light will become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for the darkness is as light to you. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place. When I was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I awake, I am still with you. If only you would slay the wicked, O God, away from me, you bloodthirsty men. They speak of you with evil intent. Your adversaries misuse your name. Do I not hate those who hate you, O Lord, and abhor those who rise against you? I have nothing but hatred for them, and I count them my enemies. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. I'd like to invite Anna Ressler to come up. She will be sharing the message with us this morning, and we're grateful for that. But we'll say a prayer of blessing as she begins to do that. Lord, thank you that you do know us, and because you know us, we know you love us. It's just one of the many ways we know that. You know the words that are going to come out of Anna's mouth shortly. We pray that the speaking of those words would bring glory to you and help us to know you better. Amen.
Psalm 139. Lord, you have searched me, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You know my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before. You lay your hands upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths of Sheol, you are there. And if I rise on the wings of the dawn and settle on the far side of the sea, even there, your hand will guide me, your right hand will hold me fast. I don't remember what year it was or how old I was when I learned these first 10 verses of Psalm 139, but I know that it was Bible school. And I know that I was able to memorize such a big chunk of this psalm in 1 week and still remember it today, mostly because it was also a song. Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. Not the most interesting song musically, but for memorization, it sure did the trick. I grew up singing. At church, in the car, apparently sometimes at the doctor's office. You name it. And my parents made sure that it was normal for me and my sisters to sing not just at church, but in front of church, prelude and offertory and such. I remember one year I memorized all the verses of Silent Night so that I could sing them sometime around Christmas. And I'm pretty sure I memorized it because I couldn't read well enough to, look at music and read it. And Sarah was even younger, and she sang Away in a Manger. And I learned a lot about the Bible from songs. All the books of the Bible, some stories, and occasionally other things like Psalm 139. And I will forever associate the word lofty with this psalm because it was my first encounter with that word. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. There were probably a lot of things about this psalm that I did not understand when I first learned it and when I sung that song over and over. But some parts are accessible even to quite young children. A couple months ago, I shared this section of the psalm with a bunch of elementary schoolers at Central. And I had switched it to third person, so I said, if we go up to heaven, God is there. And if we make our beds in the deepest depths, God is there. And if we rise early and go onto the far side of the sea, and before I even finished what I was saying, someone in the first grade row blurted out, God is there. Yes, God is there. They caught the pattern. I went to church camp a few times, mostly the camp called Girls Jamboree, because that was the only week of camp where you could stay with people from your own church and you didn't have to live with strangers and make new friends. And I think it was my first year there that we learned some of the middle verses of Psalm 139. For you created my inmost being, knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. All your works are wonderful. I know that full well. That week we were given these 2 letters, written as if by God to a beloved daughter and printed on fancy paper with faded roses in the background. And for years afterwards, I would pull these out of my purple sparkly Bible cover and read them late at night. They never failed to bring tears to my eyes. Just this thought that God might love me that much, might really see me and know me and care. You know my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I thought it was probably true, and yet it was hard to believe experientially, to know for myself that this was the case. Time passed. I went to high school. I went to college. Somewhere in the whole crazy journey of what am I going to do for a career, I landed on pastoring. But I didn't learn more of Psalm 139 until my first year of seminary. I was just flipping through some psalms, and I came to this one and was like, I already know a lot of this psalm. Maybe I'll learn the rest, or at least the connecting pieces. Because it turns out what I learned at camp isn't even the end of a stanza. It just keeps right on going. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, woven together into the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance, and all the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How weighty to me are your thoughts, God, how vast the sum of them. I try to count them. They outnumber the grains of sand. When I come to the end, I am still with you. And I thought back to the awe of God that was such an important part of my faith journey in high school and college. The way I marveled at God's creation on snowy mountaintops and in neurobiology class, and while listening to the stories of an elderly friend. All your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And how weighty to me are your thoughts, God. And of course they are, because it's God. And I think of sand, of deserts and dunes, and the reddest sand I've ever seen in Jordan and Palestine and Israel. I learned so much on that cross-cultural trip. But to think of the sand, and even if I were to count it all and manage to come to the end, I am still with you. When people ask me how my first year of seminary went, I would tell them, oh, it was amazing and kind of terrible. And that was just it. I mean, I loved seminary. I loved the classes. I loved my professors and my fellow students. But it was hard to move to a new place and a new school in a pandemic, and to take classes on Zoom and to not be able to meet anyone really for a year. It was lonely. And sometimes after 3 hours of Zoom class, I would just lay on the floor because I didn't have energy to do anything else. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light become night around me, even darkness is not dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. I thought I might learn the whole psalm. I mean, I've come this far, there's only 6 verses left. But I didn't quite know what to do with the next part. So I was like, I'll just stop there. But the last 2 verses are so nice. Search me, God, and know my heart. Try me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any hurtful way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. But I said, no, 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 I am a seminary student. I shall not cherry pick verses that I like. But I did. I mean, I didn't really try to memorize those last two verses. They just kind of stuck with me. So I tacked them on to the end of what I knew and left out those 4 verses I didn't know what to do with. And I started my second year of seminary. Things were looking up, pandemic-wise. Classes were starting to meet in person, distanced with masks. And I was starting an internship that I was excited about. It was better, and also worse, because my anxiety just went way up and stayed there. And I was really glad that I had so much of this psalm memorized. I studied psychology in undergrad, and cognitive psych was my favorite, things like memory and attention and decision-making. I remember learning about attention and why, for instance, I can color a picture while listening to an audiobook, but I can't write an email while listening to an audiobook, because similar stimuli, like words and words, interfere more with each other. And so, I used the words of this psalm to try to compete with the anxious voices in my head that would keep me awake at night. So I would lay there and think, Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You know my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely, O Lord. You hem me in behind and before. You lay your hands upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where could I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. And if I rise on the wings of the dawn and settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me, your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me, even darkness is not dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you, and so on, over and over. And it helped a little. And eventually, I got the help I needed, and things were better. My second semester of seminary was the best yet. Great classes, greatly improved mental health, and biblical storytelling was becoming my favorite thing, because it's like theater, except also the Bible. What could be better? So I started rehearsing Psalm 139 in a totally different way, more dramatically. And I finally learned those pesky 4 verses I had skipped. If only you, Lord, would slay the wicked. Away from me, you bloodthirsty. They speak of you with evil intent. Your adversaries misuse your name. Do I not hate those who hate you, Lord? And abhor those in rebellion against you. I hate them with perfect hatred and count them my enemies. And I tell you what, that changes the psalm. It's different to express the pervasive presence of God and the supreme knowledge of God when you're staring at the bloodthirsty injustice of the world. Why won't you do something, God? Get the bloodthirsty away from me. People can do such awful things sometimes, and it's not like they're just hurting me. They're using your name, twisting your name to do it. So isn't my anger justified? Isn't my hatred justified? And then to say, Search me, God, and know my heart. Try me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any hurtful way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. That's different. It's stronger. It's one thing to say, search me, God, while politely sparing God from any unpleasant emotions I may be having. And another to say, God, I hate, and I don't know if I can stop doing that. But if there is any hurtful way in me, lead me in a better way. And then the psalm kind of takes you in a circle. Search me, know me, lead me, it ends with. And then it starts over. Lord, you have searched me, and you know me, and you lead me. No matter where I go, you're there. You created me. All your works are wonderful. I know that. But God, this evil. Search me, know me, lead me. Again and again. It's a cycle that I've found so transformative. And as I've practiced it round and round, it doesn't just take me in circles, but keeps taking me to new places. And I'm still on a journey with this psalm. And to think, this is one of so many psalms, one of even more poems and stories in the Bible and beyond. When I told those elementary school students that this was from Psalm 139, their jaws dropped. Like, how can there be so many? I know. We are so lucky. We have so many resources to pull from, to learn from, to interweave with our own stories as we seek to know this God who knows us so well.
In response, please turn to 44 in your Sing the Journey. To go with a very old psalm, we're going to have a very old song, The Love of God, How Rich and Pure.